Ever get that feeling? Like life's just way more complicated than it needs to
Oh,
be.
absolutely. Like someone cranked the complexity button up to 11, right?
Exactly. And, you're not alone in feeling that way. So today, we're diving deep into decomplication.
Decomplication, love it.
Yeah. Using this thing called first principles thinking to kind of cut through all the noise,
Yeah.
and hopefully, find some actually elegant solution.
Elegant solutions. Yeah, I like that.
So we're using two sources for this.
Okay.
A YouTube video by Nan Eliason. It's called Decomplication, The Art of First Principles Thinking.
Okay.
And then also like a little snippet of Elon Musk
Oh, cool.
explaining, his approach to first principles thinking.
Awesome.
So by the end of this deep dive, you'll not only be able to spot this like artificial complexity,
All right.
but you'll also like have the tools to break down problems. Kind of like, Musk did with the cost of batteries.
Yeah, like seeing right through to the essential truth of things.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. So Eliason, he starts off with this idea of artificial complexity.
Okay.
And it's basically that sneaky feeling that, things are way harder than they should be.
Right, right.
And often we're actually tricked into believing it.
Yeah, I can see that.
It's not that real problems don't exist,
Mm-hmm.
but it's that like we heap all these extra layers of confusion on top
Right, we do.
that make everything just seem impossible.
Yeah, and I think often we don't even realize we're doing that.
Exactly.
We accept the perceived complexity as just how it is instead of like questioning,
Yeah.
whether it's truly necessary. Like Elon emphasized it.
Exactly. Like, are we just blindly following a recipe
Yeah, yeah.
instead of, understanding why each ingredient matters?
I like that.
Eliason uses the example of sleep.
Okay.
You know, it should be simple.
Right. You would think so, right?
Lie down, close your eyes, boom, you're asleep. But for some reason, like modern life has turned it into this massive, overwhelming issue.
It's true. It's so true. It's like, it's ironic, right? Because our bodies are literally designed to sleep.
Right.
Yet we create all this artificial complexity
Yeah.
around something so fundamentally natural.
So why do we do this to ourselves?
Right.
Like, why?
It's a good question.
Eliason breaks it down to like 3 forces that drive this whole artificial complexity thing.
Okay, I'm interested.
So first up is challenge.
Challenge, okay.
Problems exist, that's part of life.
Right.
But it's our reaction to the problem
Mm-hmm.
that often adds unnecessary layers.
Yeah, I see that. We tend to like overthink things,
Yeah.
overanalyze, and then we end up creating these mental roadblocks.
Yeah, exactly.
Where like a clear path should exist.
And then the second force is cognitive dissonance.
Okay, cognitive dissonance, big word.
Yeah, but it's basically we'd rather blame a problem's complexity than just admit we need to change our habits.
Oh, that's so true. Yeah. It's way easier to just be like, well, this is just how it is. It's
Right.
too complicated to fix than to actually look at ourselves and be like, oh, wait,
Yeah.
maybe I'm, part of the problem here.
Yeah, and so this is where we start reaching for those like unnecessarily complex solutions.
Right.
The latest gadget, the trendy program,
The magic pill.
Yeah, the magic pill. Promising to fix things without requiring any real effort from us.
Oh, yeah.
Eliason uses the fitness industry as like the prime example.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
All those fad diets,
Mm,
and crazy workout routines.
right.
Is it really that complicated to get in shape?
I mean, if you believe the marketing hype, it is, right?
Mhm.
Which brings us to the third force, I bet.
You got it.
Companies profit from making things seem complex.
Yes.
They create the problem and the solution all in one.
It's genius, really,
It is, yeah.
from a marketing perspective.
It's not so great for us, though,
Not so much, no.
who are actually trying to simplify things.
So this kind of ties back to, what Musk was saying about questioning assumptions.
Yeah.
Is the complexity real?
Yeah.
Or is it manufactured to just sell us something?
Such a crucial question to ask, especially these days when we're just like bombarded with information.
Oh, absolutely. Okay, so now Eliason, he makes this like key distinction. Decomplication is not just simplification.
Okay, interesting.
Simplification is taking something that I genuinely complex,
Right.
and making it easier to understand.
Got it.
Decomplication is about stripping away the artificial layers to reveal that simple truth underneath.
It's It's like restoring a masterpiece,
Right?
that's
Yeah.
been covered in layers of grime. You're not like changing the painting itself.
Right.
You're just revealing its original beauty.
I love that. Okay. And then get this, he has something he calls the law of decomplication.
Okay, the law of decomplication.
Yeah. And it's basically the more widespread a problem, the simpler its solution likely is.
Interesting.
So think about it. Challenges that are affecting millions of people
Right.
often have solutions that, at their core, are actually pretty basic.
But guess the catch is the more widespread the problem,
Yes.
the more likely it is that it's been made artificially complex.
Exactly.
Because, well, there's a bigger market to exploit.
Exactly. So how do we actually escape this complexity trap?
Yeah, that's the question.
Well, Eliason, he provides some really powerful questions to help us determine if we're dealing with, like, genuine complexity
Okay.
or the manufactured kind. First one is, does anyone profit from this being complex?
Does anyone profit? Okay.
This forces us to, like, look beyond the surface
Yeah.
and consider who benefits from this perceived complexity.
Sure. Like, is there a hidden agenda here?
Yeah, like, the fitness industry versus something like, say, quantum physics.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nobody's getting rich off making quantum physics seem complicated.
Yeah.
It just is.
It just is, yeah.
But with fitness,
Ah, there it is.
there's a whole lot of money to be made by convincing people they need, the latest equipment, the most elaborate routines,
The newest supplements.
all of it.
Yeah, yeah. So it's about recognizing the difference
Yeah,
between inherent complexity and manufactured complexity.
exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, next question. Do you already know the simple solution but avoid it because it's hard? This one might sting a bit.
Ooh, that one hits close to home for a lot of us, I bet.
Yeah. We all have those areas where we know what we should be doing, but just don't.
It's so true.
Like the smoker who knows they should quit, the person who knows they need to eat healthier. Sometimes the simplest solutions
Yeah,
are the hardest to implement.
because they require change, right?
Exactly, because they require us to change our habits, our behaviors, even our beliefs.
We resist change even when we know it's good for us.
Eliason's third question, it's a real eye-opener. Are you assigning value to complexity because you've been conditioned to believe that complex equals better?
Ooh, that's a good one. Yeah, we live in a culture that often equates complexity with, like sophistication,
Right.
effectiveness, even status sometimes.
It's like we've been programmed to believe that if it's not complicated, it can't be good.
Right, exactly.
We choose the elaborate workout routine over a simple walk,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
we buy the expensive gadget instead of the basic, affordable one.
Because we've been conditioned, right?
It's all about that conditioning, and that conditioning can be so powerful.
It really is.
It shapes our perceptions, it influences our choices, even when we're not aware of it.
It's sneaky like that.
Okay, and finally, Eliason asks, has past failure made you assume the problem is complex? This one's about recognizing that just because we've struggled with something before doesn't mean it's inherently complicated.
Right. Past experiences, they can be valuable teachers,
Absolutely.
but they can also become, limiting beliefs
yeah.
if we let them kind of dictate our future actions just because we failed to achieve a goal in the past. Right.
Doesn't mean we're destined to fail again.
Exactly. It's about separating our past experiences from, like, the present situation and approaching each challenge with, like, a fresh perspective. So be really honest with yourself as you're listening to these questions,
No judgment.
Yeah, no judgment. It's just pure self-reflection. Because the more honest you are, the more likely you are to break through those layers of artificial complexity.
Right.
And get to the core of what really matters. Now, we've talked about the problem, but how do we actually start decomplicating our lives?
The big question.
That's where first principles thinking comes in.
It's a powerful tool, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's about cutting through the noise and getting to the heart of the matter.
I like it. Welcome back to Decomplicating Life.
So we've talked about, like, spotting artificial complexity, right?
Right.
But how do we actually dismantle it? Where do we even begin?
Well, think of it like you're decluttering a room, right?
Okay.
First, you choose a specific area to focus on.
You don't want to try to tackle everything at once.
Right, right.
Pick one problem that's really bugging you.
Okay, so pick one problem, got it. Then what? Just stare at it and hope it magically decomplicates itself?
Not quite. This is where those insightful questions from Eliason come in. Remember, they're designed to help you assess both the complexity A and D, the difficulty.
Okay.
So let's revisit them.
Okay, so those questions about like whether someone's profiting from the complexity, if we're like avoiding the simple solution because it's hard, if we're giving complexity too much credit, and if past failures are like skewing our perception. Did I get them all?
You got them. Now, spend some time reflecting on those questions
Mm-hmm.
in relation to your specific problem,
Mm-hmm.
and be brutally honest with yourself,
Yeah, yeah.
even if it means confronting some uncomfortable truths about your own, habits or beliefs.
Like, okay, if my problem is constantly feeling overwhelmed at work,
Mm.
maybe I'm hesitant to delegate tasks because I think I'm the only one who can do them right.
Could be.
Or maybe I'm like actually addicted to the feeling of being busy. Ooh, that one kind of stings.
Honesty can be a little painful,
Yeah.
but it's essential for growth.
Right.
Remember, we're trying to break free from those ingrained patterns of thinking, the ones that keep us stuck in these cycles of artificial complexity.
So once we've done like the soul searching with those questions,
Mm.
what's next? What's the next step in decomplicating?
Now it's time to put on your first principles thinking hat. Channel your inner scientist. Ask yourself, what are the core elements of this problem? The fundamental truths,
It's kind of like stripping a machine down to its basic parts.
Yes, exactly, to see how it really works. And don't be afraid to challenge assumptions, Question everything. Like, why is this problem the way it is? Does it have to be this way? What if we started from scratch?
What if we started from scratch? I like that. It's like wiping the slate clean,
Right.
looking at the problem with fresh eyes.
Exactly. It forces you to reevaluate your assumptions and consider alternative approaches.
Okay.
It's especially helpful, I think, when you're dealing with those problems that have become, entrenched in tradition or conventional wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why do we have to work 40 hours a week?
Whoa. Okay, you're making me think.
Is that really the most productive way to structure our work lives?
So we've broken the problem down to its core, challenged assumptions, maybe even started thinking about it from scratch. Now what? How do we actually start, like, building a solution?
This is where creativity comes in, right? And ingenuity. Now that you have a clearer understanding of the fundamental truths, brainstorm potential solutions.
Okay.
The key is to let go of those, preconceived notions about how things should be done.
So no more, like, blindly following the crowd or the so-called experts, or feeling limited by how things have always been done.
Exactly. This is your chance to think outside the box, Explore unconventional ideas. Embrace those innovative approaches. Don't be afraid to challenge the status quo. Remember, the most elegant solutions are often the simplest.
Oh, I love that quote. Simplicity is the ultimate sophistication.
There you
Okay, but even with a simplified understanding of the problem
go.
and a commitment to, creative thinking, coming up with those solutions can still be daunting.
Yeah.
Where do we even find inspiration? How do we make sure those solutions are actually effective?
Look to nature, history, even other fields of knowledge,
Okay.
Remember Eliason's examples. For sleep, look to how humans slept in their natural state. For weight loss, explore what our ancestors ate. For language learning, mimic the immersive way we learn our first language.
So like we're surrounded by this library of solutions.
Yes.
Just waiting to be discovered.
We don't have to reinvent the wheel, right?
Yeah.
We can learn from what's worked before and adapt those principles to our own challenges. And remember that law of decomplication. The more widespread a problem,
The simpler the solution.
exactly. If it's a common problem, chances are someone somewhere has already come up with a pretty effective solution.
So we're not just brainstorming in a vacuum.
Nope. We're tapping into this collective well of human ingenuity.
That's cool.
And often, those effective solutions, they're rooted in simple, timeless principles. They may not be flashy or trendy, but they work. And that's what matters, right?
Absolutely. So we're encouraged to become like students of life, observing, learning, drawing inspiration from the world around us.
Exactly.
I like that. It's both exciting and empowering.
It is. It's about reclaiming our ability to solve problems, creatively and effectively.
Yeah.
The more we practice this approach, the more confident we become in tackling A and Y challenge that comes our way.
And I imagine that newfound confidence, it kind of spills over into other areas of our lives too, right?
Absolutely. When we start decomplicating our problems and finding solutions, it creates this positive feedback loop. We feel more capable, more in control, more empowered to take on whatever life throws at us.
It's like we're breaking free from these like self-imposed limitations and realizing our true potential.
Exactly. It's a process of personal liberation, both mentally and emotionally.
Okay, this all sounds amazing, but I have to admit there's a part of me that's still a little skeptical.
Okay.
What about those problems that really seem complex? The ones with multiple variables, conflicting priorities, no easy answers. Can first principles thinking really help with those?
That's a great question. Not all problems have simple solutions. That's true. But even in those situations, first principles thinking can be incredibly valuable. It may not provide the answer, but it can help you navigate complexity more effectively.
So it's not necessarily about finding the solution, but about finding a way forward.
Yes. Even amidst uncertainty, first principles thinking, it gives you the tools to break those complex problems down into like smaller, more manageable chunks. You can identify the most relevant factors, prioritize effectively, and ultimately make more informed decisions.
So we're not trying to eliminate complexity altogether. We're like building a mental framework to navigate it.
Precisely. And in a world that's getting increasingly complex, that ability to navigate uncertainty, it's essential. It's like developing a mental compass that helps you stay oriented even when the terrain is rough.
It sounds like first principles thinking isn't just about solving problems. It's about like developing a mindset,
Yes.
a way of approaching life's challenges with, clarity, confidence, and a healthy dose of skepticism.
That's a fantastic way to put it. It's about cultivating a mental toolkit that empowers you to, think critically, question assumptions, break free from conventional thinking, and find innovative solutions.
And that is a recipe for a more fulfilling and empowered life.
Absolutely. So as we move towards the final part of our deep dive, keep reflecting on these concepts and experiment with applying them. Choose a problem, big or small, and see what happens when you embrace the power of decomplication.
We can't wait to hear how it goes. Share your insights, breakthroughs, and aha moments with us on social media. We'll be back soon for part 3, where we'll explore even more practical tips for decomplicating your life. Stay tuned.
All right, welcome back to the final part of our decomplication deep dive.
We've explored a lot, haven't we? Artificial complexity, first principles thinking, and, ways to actually tackle those challenges.
Yeah, we've covered a lot of ground. But now let's get even more practical.
Okay, I like it.
What are some concrete strategies, actionable tips, stuff we can actually use to integrate these principles into our everyday lives?
You want to turn this knowledge into action.
Yes.
I love it. Well, one strategy I find super helpful is creating a decomplication ritual.
Decomplication ritual,
Yeah.
okay. It's basically dedicating some time. Could be daily, could be weekly, where you intentionally step back from all the busyness and apply these principles to your challenges.
A decomplication ritual. It's kind of like a mindfulness practice almost.
It can be, yeah.
Yeah.
The key is to create a space for, focused, intentional thinking. Maybe start by journaling, Jot down the problems, the decisions that are kind of weighing on you.
Okay.
And then use those questions from Eliason as your guide.
Okay.
Is this truly complex or is it artificial?
Yeah.
Am I avoiding the simple solution because it's hard? Am I just making things more complicated than they need to be?
It's like having a guided conversation with yourself.
Yes.
Using those insightful prompts from Eliason and Musk, to uncover the truth.
Exactly. And as you're reflecting on those questions, start applying those first principles thinking tools.
Okay.
Break the problem down, challenge your assumptions. See if nature, history, other fields offer any inspiration.
Don't forget to think outside the box.
Of course. Embrace those what-if possibilities, those unconventional ideas. The goal is to shift your perspective.
Okay.
See the problem from a fresh angle. Open yourself up to those innovative solutions.
All right, so we've got our decomplication ritual. What else? What other strategies can we use to, keep those first principles muscles flexed and ready for action?
Surround yourself with people who encourage critical thinking, Seek out those individuals who challenge your assumptions. Ask thought-provoking questions. Inspire you to see the world differently.
It's like building a support system for your brain.
Yeah, a network of people who help you stay sharp, keep you curious, and just as importantly, I think, be mindful of the information you consume. Be wary of those sources that thrive on, sensationalism, fear-mongering, oversimplification.
Right. It's about being like a discerning consumer of information.
Yes.
Critically evaluating sources, questioning narratives, seeking out diverse perspectives,
Yeah.
not just blindly accepting what we're told.
Exactly. We're bombarded with information from all directions these days. It's crucial to filter that information, identify biases, and form our own, informed opinions.
It's like developing a mental immune system almost.
Oh, I like that. To protect ourselves from those viruses of misinformation and manipulation.
And decomplication, it's an ongoing process, right? It's not like a one-time fix.
It's a way of life, really. Approaching life's challenges with a curious, critical, solution-oriented mindset.
So we need to be patient with ourselves, persistent in our efforts, and always willing to learn and adapt.
Absolutely. And over time, as you practice these principles, you'll find yourself naturally gravitating towards those simpler, more effective solutions. You'll be less susceptible to those forces of artificial complexity and more confident in navigating, all those twists and turns.
It's like we're developing a superpower, the ability to cut through the noise and get to the heart of what really matters.
And that superpower is within reach for all of us. So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with one final thought-provoking question. What seemingly a complex problem in your life might actually have a simpler solution? What area could you start decomplicating starting today?
Choose one thing, big or small, and apply the principles we've talked about. Break it down, challenge your assumptions, think creatively, and just see what happens. We're excited to hear about your journey. Share your insights, breakthroughs, and aha moments with us on social media. What resonated most with you? What will you decomplicate? Until next time, keep diving deep and remember, simplicity is often the key to unlocking extraordinary results.